I will just put on my, I have made a few slides. I hope you can see them now. Like this, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you today in this, it's not a new format, but this is one of the few good things to say about this situation we are in now across the whole world, where we can make a conference like this. This is really interesting for me to participate in. I don't understand very much so far, but I hope I can contribute to your work with digitization. Just a few words about myself. My name is Soren, and I work here in local government Denmark, and I've been here for the last 6 years now. I'm mainly in charge of making the joint strategies that we make across all Danish municipalities, and also I participate in the work the collaboration that we have together with the state level and the regional level when it comes to digitization. Just a few key learnings that I will get into in my presentation. When I will go through my slides, the next 20 minutes or so, I will focus especially on the importance of involving and engaging the citizens, employees, and the decision makers in the digital processes. This is one of the key learnings we have had over the last 10 years or so. It's extremely important that citizens can see the larger purpose of digitizing and using technologies. The employees needs to know why and how can this contribute to their professional work life. And the decision makers, they are in charge and they have the responsibility for all the decisions that are made. So therefore we have to engage them much more than we have been used to. It's also important to set up criteria for making a priority. When we prioritize to work together, we should focus the joint effort so that we just don't say that, okay, we can work together about everything. We need to focus on some specific areas. It's also important to establish a governance model, whether it's a cooperation amongst 10 municipalities or 98 municipalities, or whether it's the cooperation between the municipalities and the state and the regions. It's important that we have a good governance model in function. And at least funding is necessary. It's extremely important that we have some money to put aside when we want to make joint projects and joint solutions. So we need to have the money up front so that we can move the agenda. And finally, I would say that this whole COVID-19 situation has changed a lot of things for us. So I guess if we have the same conference in half a year, it would be something more than this I just said now that would be important for me to let you know about. But what we see here in Denmark, I guess you see the same with you, is that with the COVID-19, we had a burning platform from one day to another. Most of our job was suddenly transformed and made virtual. And that has really changed the agenda about digitization in the public sector. We were pretty digital already, but if we, about now, I think all of us can see the big meaning of using digitization and technology much more. So this has changed a lot. I will just say a few words about Denmark and the Danish municipalities. You probably know some of it, but we are a total of 98 municipalities. We used to be, until 2006, we used to be 273, but we had a reform back then. So now we have a fewer and bigger municipalities. We are approximately 56,000 people living in each municipality. The municipalities is run by a local elected city council and the mayor. And about 500,000 employees in the public sector works in municipalities. So it's quite a big part of the population working in the municipalities. And a little about local government Denmark, where I'm coming from, just so you understand what our role is in the digitization processes. We were formed in 1970. All municipalities can be members voluntarily, but all 98 municipalities are members. It didn't used to be like this, but it has been like this for the last 10 or 15 years. We are 400 sitting in here in the local government house here in Copenhagen. Right now, we can only be approximately 50 at work a day because of the COVID-19. So therefore, all of us are more or less working from home. We don't have a formal authority in local government Denmark, except when it comes to collective bargain with the labor unions. We bargain with the labor unions about the employees. But we usually say that decisions must be based on consensus. So that's what we do. And then we have a special relationship with the Ministry of Finance, because we negotiate the economy for the municipalities with the Ministry of Finance. Okay, a few words about why joint municipal digitizations, why we have focused on this for so many years. We have been had a particular focus on working together across all 98 municipalities for the last 20 or so years. And it all comes up to a few important messages. We are stronger together. Instead of one municipality goes to the vendor and go to the IT companies and say, we want to buy these solutions, we can get better prices when we buy in together. When we work together, it also reduces the risk for the single municipality. They don't have the risk to make an IT project. We know all that IT projects can be quite risky. So therefore, if we can do this together, we can reduce the risk. It also increases the market competition when we go together and work together as one sector. We also, in the municipalities, we have the same business model. We can therefore help each other when it comes to implementing specific solutions. We all have to teach the children. We all have to take care of the elder people. We all have to take care of the environment. That's some of the tasks that the municipalities solve here in Denmark. And then we can help each other with implementing and testing new technologies. We can share knowledge. We can secure reliable operations, and we can help each other getting better access to data and integration. So that's some of the most important messages for us. Was to say is, why do we focus so specifically on joint municipal digitization? A few words about the digital journey in the Danish municipalities. I will not get into all these years. I just want to say that back in 1970, we were more than 1,100 boroughs and rural municipalities, and that became 270 municipalities back then. We actually made our own IT company back then in 1972. This company was named Kommunedata, which just means like the municipal data company. And it was owned by the municipalities. And this means that this company, they had a little department in most municipalities and most bigger cities. And the municipality could just call this company, and then they would come and say, okay, we want this fixed, we want this solution, we need to have digital solutions for this and this. And this company, Kommunedata, will build it on an extremely low price, because this company was actually owned by the municipalities together. But what happened was that in 1907 and 8, this company was actually sold to a private company. and to private investors, because we were told by the Prime Minister that we could no longer in municipalities own this company. This company had a monopoly on how to develop IT solutions and deliver solutions for the municipalities, and this was not good for the market situation. So this company was sold. They were still offering digital solutions for the municipalities, but now it was a private investor who owned this company, and they wanted to earn a profit. So this means that that prices for the municipalities was going up extremely much for using the different solutions. And other companies, it was very difficult for them to get into the market, because this Kommunedata said, oh, we can make an integration, but it will be extremely expensive, etc., etc. So therefore we said that, okay, maybe we don't own our own IT company anymore, but we will set up a company with one single task. And they had the task to break the monopoly of this Kommunedata. And this company is called Compit, and they are still in function actually. Compit is a technology company, but they are not responsible for developing solutions. They are only responsible for buying solutions for the municipalities and on behalf of the municipalities, so that the single municipality don't have to take all the risk by themselves. And this company is still here today. So the situation today is that we have 98 municipalities, we have local government Denmark, and we have Compit. Compit is a company with approximately 200 employees. And what they are doing is that they are supporting and helping the municipalities when buying IT solutions on behalf of them. It's not all IT solutions, but it's all the solution that makes sense, that we only have one of, instead of have 98 solutions. And this is extremely effective, because this means that all municipalities don't need to have very specific skills and profiles for buying in new solutions. They can actually get help from Compit when they need to. It still is local government Denmark, where I'm sitting. We are still responsible about prioritizing which kind of solution should Compit buy in on behalf of the municipalities. But it happens together with the municipalities in a very close cooperations. I will get back to that later as well. But what I want to tell you is that what we see, and that was one of my first points when I started my presentation, is that it's extremely important to engage and involve our citizens, our professional, the political system, when we develop IT policy and when we develop IT solutions. We have learned that over the years. In the first years, back in around 2000, when we were at an extremely lower level of maturity when it comes to digitization, it mainly focused on the economic agenda about making the society more effective, and about reducing the budgets with digital solutions. But nowadays, digitization and technology is much more used for achieving our goals that we have for the municipalities, which is to have the most clever students in the world, to support that people can stay in their home as long as they want to and as long as they can, to help unemployed people to get back to jobs. That is what we want to use digitizations for, to achieve these goals that we set for our welfare society. And when it comes to the policy making process, therefore, it's extremely important that we involve these people. It's important that we involve the citizens, because in the end, it's them who needs to benefit from the digital solutions. But it's also important that we involve the professionals, our employees, because they know, they have the contact with the citizen each day, and they know what's best to do, and they talk to the citizen and know what they need. And it's also important to engage the political system, because it's them who sets the strategic direction for what way we want to move our country. So therefore we engage them as well. But what we also do in particular degree is that we involve labor unions, into other interest organizations, etc., because they often have their very good inspirations for us to pick up on when developing new solutions. So what I just want to say is that our policy making process when it comes to digitalizations involves a lot of different actors. And for us, it's important that we have all these actors engaged in the process from the beginning. It's not enough when we have the solutions to engage them. It has to be from the beginning. We have been working for many years across municipalities and across the public sector. Now I have this slide. You can see it actually started in 2001, where we created the first solution about digital signature. We allowed the citizens to send emails to authorities. That was quite new back then. And you see up here in 2011 and 16, it all came to focus much more on digital post, mandatory digital communication, digital welfare solutions, providing better data. And after 2016, we have focused much more on digital cyber safety, about, I just need to see the slide, about data, etc. This is all the areas where we work together on in the public sector, across the state level, the municipal level, and the regional level. What we say is that we have a lot of strategies when it comes to digitization in Denmark. We have joint public sector strategies. This is the strategies I just mentioned on the previous slide. This is the strategy where we say, okay, we need to build new digital solution that build bridges between sectors. This is solutions where that needs to be used, whether you are in the hospital, whether you are in the state administration, or whether you work on an elderly care home. But then we also need to have the joint municipal strategies. This is where it only is important for the municipalities to work together. And then all the municipalities, they also have their own strategies when it comes to digitization. So when it all comes together, we say that each municipality has at least 150 digital projects to take care of when they look at all the initiatives that comes from all these different kind of strategies. There is a lot of strategies, a lot of ways to work together, but we also has reached a point now where we say, okay, we have set up a lot of different initiatives, and a lot of new things is happening, but we also maybe have to focus in the coming years to realize the benefits of all the things, and to focus more on the implementation process instead of just setting up new things. I will just bring you a case. This is one of the projects where we have been working together across all municipalities. It is like in the Danish schools, so that we had this very simple app, which was a platform for communications between teachers, students, and their parents. This app was developed 25 years ago. Back then, it was not an app; it was just a simple solution. And we said this it's no longer secure enough to use, and it cannot be further developed anymore. So we said we need to build a new solution. We could go different ways in this process. We could say, okay, each municipality, you have to develop your own solutions, or you can make one together. And we decided in the municipalities we want to make a common solution, a collaboration platform. And this platform, it has the sole purpose of of strengthening the communication between parents and students and teachers in the everyday. We built one solution for all of them. It was Compit, the organization I told you about early on. They were responsible to buy in the solutions and to follow the development of the solutions. And afterwards, they were responsible for the implementation of the solutions. This solution was actually implemented to more than 2.5 million citizens within a 3-week period back in the autumn last year. It was implemented in 1,600 schools across Denmark. And in the coming month, this solution will also be implemented in all kindergartens. So this will be the next what happens. But this is just a way we say, okay, this is more effective that we build these solutions together. Each municipalities, they pay a price to use the solutions. The price is calculated based on how many people living in the single municipalities. So this means that Copenhagen, with approximately 700,000 inhabitants, will pay a lot more than the smallest municipality with approximately 2,000 inhabitants. But in this way, we keep the price down because we don't have to build the solutions one by one. Okay, what I also was asked to tell a little about was some of all the other ways that the Danish municipalities work together, because one way is that they work together like all 98 municipalities working together, but we also have a lot of smaller organizations spread over the whole country, where 5 or 10 or 25 municipalities work together. I just want to give you one example of this. This is an organization called OS2, which means open source. This organization includes 67 municipalities. This is quite a large organizations. It's free to be a part of this organizations. What they do is they share knowledge about digital solutions. They develop specific solutions together. It's typical solutions that it's not. It doesn't make sense to say, okay, we do it by ourselves in one municipalities, and it doesn't make sense to build one big national solutions. So here, 67 municipalities goes together. They share their results and they share the funding about building the solutions. And afterwards, the solutions can be used by all other municipalities and all other authorities because it's built open source. Right now, they have actually 22 products. This means they have built 22 solutions. And they have made a governance organization. So each time they develop a new solution, there is a governance about the solution. I will just show you now. This is a project called OS2 Factor. This solution is governed by 7 specific municipalities. They are responsible for the development of the solution. They're responsible for getting the funding for the solution. And now it is actually, this solution is actually used by 28 municipalities. Actually, I also know that in Reykjavik, on the library up there, you have one of the solutions that has been developed by this organization OS2. We made a survey last year, no, a few years ago, where we asked all municipalities how many of you is involved in organization like this OS2, and it says that 3 out of 4 municipalities is actually involved in organizations like this. So most of all municipalities, they also focus on developing solutions together with 67 other municipalities, or 5 or 10 municipalities. It could be a total different number of municipalities. It all depends on what kind of product is being developed. So this is also ways of how we develop solutions in Denmark. So this was my presentation. I've used my time, I see, but I just want to sum up the most important learning from Denmark is to involve the citizens, the political level, the professionals in the development of solutions, focus and decide what kind of topics would be the best for us to work about together, and also focus so you don't set off many projects, so you have a very large portfolio. Set up some specific areas where you say we want to focus on this and this, and make sure to have some funding, because if you have some funding straight up, it's much easier to start off the projects. It's much easier than if you start to have the funding and then you can see what kind of projects you want to make. I will be online and will participate in the Q&A session a little later on. Thank you.